A cop walks up to your car, taps on the glass, and says, "Roll your window down, now." What do? Most people, they panic. They comply immediately. They roll it all the way down, they start nervously explaining themselves, they hand over stuff they were never legally required to hand over, and by the time that interaction is over, they've given that officer everything he needs to search their car, charge them with something, or make their life miserable for the next 6 months. And here's the part that's going to make you angry. None of that was required by law. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what your rights are, what you're legally required to do, what you are absolutely not required to do, and the specific words, the exact script you should use in this situation. Stay until the end, because the last part of this video, that's the part that could save you from a wrongful arrest. Let's start with the foundation, because if you don't understand this, everything else I tell you won't make sense. When a police officer pulls you over, you are legally required to do 3 things, and only 3 things. Number 1, pull over safely and promptly. Number 2, provide your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance when asked. Number 3, identify yourself if you're the driver. In most states, that's it. That's the list. That's the whole list. Now here's what is not on that list. Rolling your window all the way down. I know. You're probably sitting there saying, but they always ask me to roll it down. I thought I had to. And here's the thing. Officers ask you to roll it down, and because of how authority works, how uniforms work, how the whole psychology of a traffic stop works, people comply like it's a law. It is not a law. In most states, you are required to crack your window enough to communicate and pass documents through. That's it. A few inches, not all the way down. Now, I want to be very clear about this because context matters. This varies by state. Some states have specific statutes. Some courts have ruled differently. So what I'm giving you is the general constitutional framework. You need to know your specific state's law. I'll tell you how to do that later in this video. But the constitutional principle? It's solid. The Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, and one of the ways that protection gets violated is when people voluntarily lower that window, give officers unrestricted access, and then wonder why they ended up in handcuffs. Let me tell you why the window is so important. And I don't mean philosophically, I mean tactically, from a law enforcement perspective. When you roll your window all the way down, you are giving an officer the ability to do several things. 1, sensory observation. Officers are trained. The second that window drops, they are scanning. They're smelling for marijuana. They're looking at your eyes. Are they red, glassy? They're looking at your back seat. They're looking at your center console. They're looking at your lap. They're looking at your hands. Every single sense is working to find probable cause to escalate that stop. 2, you create proximity. When you're close, you're nervous. When you're nervous, you talk. When you talk, you say things you didn't need to say. I was just coming from my friend's house. I only had 2 beers. There's nothing in the back, you can check. I have heard clients say all of these things, and every single one of them became a problem later. 3, you invite escalation. Here's something they don't teach in any civics class. An officer cannot order you out of a vehicle unless there is reasonable suspicion of criminal activity or they're making an arrest. But if you've already rolled your window all the way down and created this casual conversational dynamic, getting you out of that car becomes a lot smoother for them. A cracked window creates a professional boundary. It signals, without saying a single aggressive word, that you know your rights and you're exercising them calmly. That's not disrespect. That's the Constitution in action. Okay, here's what you actually say. I'm going to give you the script word for word. Step 1, the window. Crack it 2 to 4 inches, enough to be heard and to pass documents through, not all the way down. Step 2, when they say roll it down all the way, you say, and these words matter, you say, "Officer, I mean you no disrespect. I'm happy to cooperate. I'm just keeping my window partially down for my own safety. Here is my license and registration." Then you pass the documents through the crack. That's it. That's the line. Now, notice what you did not say. You did not say, "I know my rights." That phrase, as satisfying as it sounds, immediately puts officers on the defensive and escalates the situation. You don't need to announce that you know your rights. You exercise them quietly. You did not say, Am I being detained at minute 1? That's a question you save for later if the stop starts to go sideways. You did not apologize, you did not over-explain, you were calm, clear, and non-confrontational. Step 3. If they ask, "Where are you coming from?" you say, "I'd rather not answer questions without a lawyer present, officer." Short, polite, final. Step 4. If they say, "I smell marijuana," or "I need you to step out of the vehicle," here's where people get it wrong. If an officer says, "Step out of the vehicle," you comply. You get out. Pennsylvania versus Mims, 1977, the Supreme Court ruled officers can order you out during a lawful stop. You do not resist, you do not argue, but as you're getting out, you say clearly, "I do not consent to any searches. I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I would like a lawyer." You say those 3 sentences and then you stop talking. Because here's the thing, and this is the most important legal point I will make in this entire video. Your mouth is the most dangerous weapon in a traffic stop. Not the cop's gun, not their authority, your mouth, because you can't unsay something. Evidence from your own statements is some of the hardest evidence to fight in court. Let me walk you through 3 real scenarios. These are based on cases, situations I've seen, situations colleagues have handled. Scenario 1, the smell claim. Driver gets pulled over for a broken taillight. Rolls window all the way down. Officer immediately says, "I smell marijuana." Driver says, "I don't smoke. I don't have any." Officer says, "I'm going to need you to step out." Driver complies. Officer searches the car, finds a small bag of weed that belonged to a passenger 2 days ago and was under the seat. Driver gets charged. Now, could that officer have smelled marijuana through a cracked window? Maybe, but a cracked window forces that claim to be made explicitly and on the record. It creates friction in the escalation process. It doesn't always prevent a search, but it changes the dynamic entirely. Scenario 2, the friendly conversation. Traffic stop, window all the way down. Officer is friendly, chatty, asks where you're headed. You start talking. You mention you came from a party. Officer asks if you've been drinking. You say, "Just a couple." You just gave him the foundation for a DUI investigation. He had nothing before you spoke. Scenario 3, the one that ends differently. Same stop, window cracked, driver hands documents through, officer asks where they're coming from, driver says, "I'd rather not answer questions, officer," politely, calmly. Officer runs the plates, finds nothing, issues a warning, and the driver goes home. Same stop, 3 completely different outcomes, all determined by what the driver did in the first 60 seconds. Now, let's clear up some misconceptions because I see them in comments all the time. Can a cop break your window if you don't roll it down? In extremely rare circumstances, if there is an imminent threat, if they have a warrant, if there is imminent danger, yes. But for a routine traffic stop where you are calmly complying and communicating through a cracked window, no. Absolutely not. And if they do, that's a civil rights violation and the basis for a serious legal claim. Can they search your car without permission during a routine stop? Only if they have probable cause, which means actual evidence, not a hunch, or your consent. Do not consent ever, even if you have nothing to hide, because the moment you say, "Go ahead, check," you have waived your Fourth Amendment protection for that search completely. Can they detain you longer than necessary for the stop? No. Rodriguez versus United States, 2015, the Supreme Court ruled that police cannot extend a traffic stop beyond the time needed to handle the traffic violation, even for a few minutes, without reasonable suspicion of additional criminal activity. If you're sitting there and the officer is taking way too long, you can calmly ask, "Am I free to go?" If they say yes, you go. If they say no, you say, "Am I being detained?" And then you stop talking until you have a lawyer. What about checkpoints, DUI checkpoints? Different rules. Checkpoints are treated differently legally, but even there, your right to remain silent is intact. You can hand your license through a cracked window. You do not have to answer, "Have you been drinking tonight?" Now, here's a myth I need to demolish right now, and I know this is going to make some people uncomfortable. The myth is, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about. I hear this from clients. I hear it in comment sections. I hear it from well-meaning people who have never had to sit across from a prosecutor. Here's the reality. Innocent people get charged every single day. Innocent people get convicted. The justice system is not a perfect machine. It's a human system with human error, implicit bias, pressure to close cases, and sometimes officers who are not acting in good faith. Your constitutional rights are not an insult to law enforcement. The good officers, the ones doing the job with integrity, they understand this. They were trained on the Constitution too. They know what a citizen exercising their rights looks like. The ones who get aggressive when you calmly invoke your rights, that aggression tells you something important. Your rights exist for exactly the moments when the system might fail you. Using them is not guilt, it is wisdom. It is what every single defense attorney, prosecutor, and judge would do if they were sitting in that driver's seat. Now, and I can't stress this enough, traffic law varies by state. What I've given you today is the constitutional framework that applies across the United States, but specific statutes, specific case law, that varies. Some states have enacted laws around window requirements. Some states have stronger or weaker protections around consensual encounters. Some states have specific rules around identification requirements. Here's what I want you to do. Go to your state's legislature website. Search motor vehicle stop or traffic stop statute. Read what your state requires. Or, and this is the better option, find a criminal defense attorney in your state who offers free consultations and ask them specifically, what are my rights during a traffic stop in this state? 20 minutes of their time could save you years of legal trouble. Also, document everything. If you're ever in a stop that goes sideways, as soon as it is safe and legal to do so, write down everything you remember. The time, the location, the officer's name and badge number, the patrol car number, what was said, what was done, in what order. That documentation is gold if you ever need to build a defense or file a complaint. Let me leave you with this. You are not legally required to make a police officer's job easy at the expense of your own constitutional rights. Respect? Absolutely. Cooperation within the law? Yes. But voluntary surrender of your rights out of fear or social pressure? No. The Founding Fathers didn't put the Fourth and Fifth Amendments in the Constitution because they were feeling generous. They put them there because they had lived under a system where authorities could stop you, search you, and imprison you with no justification. Those rights were written in direct response to that experience. When you exercise them, you're not being difficult, you're being American. Now I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments. Have you ever been in a traffic stop where you felt your rights were being violated? What happened? I read every single comment, and if enough of you share a specific situation, I will make a full video breaking down exactly what should have happened legally. If this video gave you information you didn't have before, share it. Send it to someone you care about. Because this is the information that doesn't get taught in school. It doesn't get covered in the news. And it could genuinely change the outcome of someone's night, someone's life. Subscribe if you want more real legal information delivered straight. No fluff, no confusion. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. And if you're in a situation right now where you've already been charged and you're wondering what your options are, the link is in the description. Use it. The consultation is free, the information is real. I'll see you in the next one.